One of the most important advances in social science analysis of law has been the effort of psychologists and behavioral economists in identifying systematic deviations from the neoclassical economic assumptions that individuals act rationally to maximize their utility. Rigorous randomized experiments have produced evidence of a host of circumstances in which people display limited rationality, limited willpower, and limited self-interest. To be well-educated today, you need to be comfortable recognizing the possibility of overconfidence, self-serving biases, hindsight biases, anchoring bias, framing and endowment effects. This is a large and important topic. For a host of applications of these concepts to law, I recommend that you read two of the most cited articles of the last several decades. One is by Russell Korobkin and Tom Ulen, and it's called Law and Behavioral Science. And the second is by Christine Joles, Cass Sunstein, and Nobel Prize winner Richard Thaler, and it's called A Behavioral Approach to Law and Economics. The fact that these two articles on behavioral economics make the most cited lists regularly is one sign of how important behavioralism is to current scholarship. And instead of lecturing to introduce these concepts, I'm going to use, or as lawyers would say, incorporate by reference, a delightfully nerdy song that musically defines the most famous behavioral biases. The song was created by Bradley Ray, a high school teacher in Maryland, as a study aid for the students preparing for their AP psychology exam.
I'm biased because I knew it all along. Hindsight bias, I knew it all along. I'm biased because I put you in a category which you may or may not belong. Representativeness bias, don't stereotype this song. I'm biased because of a small detail that throws off the big picture of a thing. Anchoring bias, see the forest for the trees. I'm biased toward the first example that comes to mind. Availability bias to the first thing that comes to mind. Oh, bias, don't let bias into your mind. Bias, don't try this, it'll influence your thinking and memory. Don't mess with these, but you're guilty of distorted thinking. Cognitive bias, your mind becomes blinded. Decisions and problems, you've been forced to solve them wrongly. I'm biased because I'll only listen to what I agree with. Confirmation bias, you're never-minded if you are this. I'm biased because I take credit for success, but no blame for failure. Self-serving bias, my success and your failure. I'm biased when I remember things the way I would have expected them to be. Expectancy bias, false memories are shaped by these. I'm biased because I think my opinion now was my opinion then. Self-consistency bias, but you felt different way back when. Oh, bias, don't let bias into your mind. Bias, don't try this, it'll influence your thinking and memories. Don't mess with these, you're guilty of distorted thinking. Cognitive bias, man becomes blinded. Decisions and problems, you've been forced to solve them wrongly.
And then homework. How could an appreciation of these biases support a particular regulation of home mortgages? Conjure an example where the biases might support repealing an existing law.